Our meeting, June meeting for the City of Kyle Arts and Cultural Commission, open, it is 7:00. Good afternoon, everyone. For you, there is the agenda for the day as well as the minutes of our last meeting. And I'm gonna ask Stephanie to call the roll, please.
Vanessa Westbrook, Sarah Monroe. Here. Brooke Oliphant. Here. Melanie Atkins,
Not here.
Michael Lynch,
Here.
Colleen Tierney.
Not here.
You didn't tell me? Oh, yes, sorry. Vicky Price. Sorry. Here.
The loudest person in the room, you missed.
Sorry.
All right, at this time, we are in for our public hearing section where we will listen to any comments from citizens or visitors who are attending, if they so choose to. And that's now open. Would you like to introduce yourself and say anything?
I'm Candace Fudge. I'm a silk artist. Is there any plans in the near future to have like an art league or something?
So, no, not at the moment. And, yeah, typically when we do, citizen comments, you just, tell us whatever you gotta tell us and that kind of thing. We don't really act on anything or whatnot, but the only one here just to answer that question though, me, not per se, no.
Yeah, I'm just here.
Just listen.
Yeah, I'm just here.
All right, well, appreciate you being here. We have gone out of our way to, invite citizens from the city of Kyle to come to any of our meetings, which are always the third Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. here in the library. So thank you. Museum on the right. All right, then. So as you take a look at the minutes, is there anything that anybody needs to make an amendment to, change, et cetera, et cetera? If not, in just a second, I will ask for approval of the minutes by vote. Okay, well, we've all had the opportunity to review these minutes already, so unless I hear any suggestions, changes, edits, et cetera, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for approval of the minutes by the commissioners. All those in favor of approving?
Okay.
All right, any names? Okay, moving on. All right, as you can see, we have a little bit of unfinished business. We have one potential new business, and then we're gonna pretty much wrap this up. Unless somebody else something they wanna add. So unfinished business, the first thing is the update on the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration here at the library. That was on the 23rd of May. And since we, basically supported and sponsored the food, that is why it is on our agenda. Michael, would you just want to give us a little update?
Sure, yeah, it was a really good turnout. I think we had about 30 people at the last count to see Moana. And then we had food from Koi and from the Payburn food truck, which were great success. So thank you, Tara, for picking that up for us. People had a great time. We had another teen event going on at the same time, making Zen gardens, and had about 25 people for that. So all in all, really successful program. And so a lot of people are happy, a lot of little kids too. So it's good.
I think it was more adults in that Zen garden than it was young
Teens,
people.
yeah, I think they showed up and they just wanted to do some stuff. So it turned out great. So
Next, we have the update on the Kyle Depot Call to Artists event that was on May 27th.
We had about 8 artists all together. I thought it was a success. It was nice to see the public come in and walk around. The newest member of the school board spent quite a lot of time there with his children as well. So it gave the public an opportunity to kind of walk around and see artists in their element. And the paintings are on display right now at City Hall with a QR code. We ran into a little bit of a problem with the QR code because it had an expiration. I didn't realize that. So we have someone fixing that for us now, but we want the community to vote on the paintings, and the number one painting, will be made into postcards for, use at the rail depot and throughout the city of Kyle.
Yeah, we'll give them away,
Yeah.
once we're all said and done. That was, so the QR code will be, the new will be up tomorrow. And there is an event tomorrow that's connected to this. It's the Peace and Progress Dialogue that will be at 7 PM. However, at 6 PM, the city has invited people to come early for the dialogue and have an opportunity to not only look at the paintings and vote, but go across the street because the depot is specially opening it up so people could come over and be able to compare paintings with the inside of the depot. So they're gonna be open for an hour. They've got their volunteers already scheduled. And we're gonna have kind of this dual thing going on, so people come a little early before the dialogue, they can casually go over to the depot, enjoy it, and come back to City Hall, since you're basically just walking across the street. The overall idea is to be able just to promote people being able to come and look at the paintings, and this is after hours. Because previously, up until July, you can only do it between 9 and 5, which a lot of folks at work, they can't do that. So this is to help with that. And then communications also said that if there is a special event going on between now and the end of July 28th, like on a Saturday, then people will also be able to come in and go and view the paintings and vote. You can vote as much as you want, and, it's real, the other thing is, not only is there a QR code, but tomorrow there'll also be a website. So if you don't want to, you can put in the website and you can get to it, so you can vote at that point in time too. Other than that, good success, and we'll see where it takes us. All righty. Any questions
Sorry,
about?
what time is
depot?
that?
What,
The thing in the evening, what time?
6 o'clock
Tomorrow?
tomorrow? Yes, ma'am. All right, if anybody can come out, that'd be helpful. Just to kind of interact with folks who are gonna be looking at the pictures, and it's an hour, right? You don't have to stick around for the dialogue. If you don't want to, be nice, but you don't have to. All righty, so then, any other questions about depot? Where we are on that? Okay. All right, next thing we have is the Juneteenth celebration. Again, we funded a portion of it, so, which is why it is a report. We funded the dance company the Black Dance Company to come in. It was fabulous. It was hot, yet everybody stood out on the street and went and got umbrellas so they can enjoy the performance by the dance company. They did kind of a narrative drama dance ensemble that blended in Juneteenth, and it went extremely well. Folks were talking about it, and luckily they did it right before it got too hot. We were probably about the 90th mark when they came on, and clearly when they were done, we were probably over the 100 mark in regards to heat index. So, which was nice because after that, a jazz performance came on, and everybody retreated to the trees. It was really funny to listen because he was playing the music, and the speakers were so loud that you could hear the music all the way to the depot from the park. So people were under trees, on blankets and chairs, on benches, etc., enjoying the music, and everybody really complimented the Parks Department on that because of this idea of being able to listen to this really great music sitting underneath the shade trees, which we know there's a lot at the park. So overall, it was a tremendous success. It went very well. Okay, then next we have there was going to be an update on the quilts. I did get a call from Melody in regards to her not coming tonight. And she just wanted to just say that the quilting folks are excited about putting up quilts in City Hall. There's gonna have to be some coordination between her and the person who's gonna be help hanging. More than likely, it's gonna be Xander. That's who we've been having conversations with. And he has already purchased some materials that will allow rods to be put on hooks, which the quilts will fall over for the display in September. So we'll hear more about that. And that's where we are with old business. Any questions for unfinished business?
Something that wasn't on the agenda that I learned today is that there were 2 applicants for the open position. for the spot that we have, and that came down today. So now it'll go to city council and the process will begin. So there's that.
Great story interviews.
I think so.
All right, I'm gonna move us on to new business. I sent each of you an email asking you to take a look at the Land That I Love project that is coming up in 2026. And it is a fishing expedition right now by the company trying to see if indeed the city of Kyle would be interested in doing this particular project, which would, fall for the most part on the horticultural. So what happened was it went to the Economic Development Office first. They then sent it to the city manager, and the city manager said, send it to Arts and Culture and let them have the conversation first. Thus, that information went out to you all to go and review the artist who does, several types of programs, and they're getting prepared for the, 250th anniversary of America? I think that's right, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea is to do small towns, for the most part, and go around small towns across America and literally use the history, the cities, the core, the scenic view of the city to create a working puzzle. It's like I don't know about how many pieces. I forgot to ask that question on the call. But anyway, let's say it's 1,000-piece puzzle. And then it would be a commercial item that literally could be sold. So the cost to get into the program is $75,000.
So we paid them for them to make money off of us.
No, hold on, I'm not done.
Yeah.
So what it would involve is the $75,000 would include the whole crew coming here, collecting the information, the artists doing all of their work, et cetera, and creating this puzzle for us, for them to review and say, yes, we like this and those kind of things. And once that is done, and then we go ahead and say, yes, the city, or whoever is gonna pay for it, will take will pay for the $75,000. There's other components to it. For instance, the city will basically get the rights to the puzzle. And then any money for the first year in selling the puzzle, not only on, I believe, Amazon and on the guy's website, but us like selling it through the city and that kind of stuff, we get all those profits.
We get 100% of the profits the
Yes.
first year?
Yes, yes. And not only that, but after the first year, we would, any products that we have, so let's say we order 1,000 puzzles. And we're selling 1,000 puzzles, and the year passes, and let's say we have, we got 100 puzzles left, we still get that money. So even after that year is over, whatever purchasing we do of the product, all that comes to the city.
I've got the full numbers for this.
Go ahead.
So it's 75,000 is for the original painting, the framed canvas puzzle. That's like a big interactive puzzle that you do at an event. The art image license and him coming to here for the event. And so there's another 75,000 that's for all of the puzzles, which come in 100, 500, and 1,000 pieces, which is 6,000 puzzles at $12.50 each. And then the MSRP for that is 25 or $24.99. So basically, if you sell all the puzzles, you pay for the entire project.
Which is $150,000,
Yes.
not 75,000.
No. So it's 75,000 for the
For the-
puzzle itself.
Just to be made.
Just the
and then
paint.
$75,000 for the puzzles to purchase that you
Yeah.
can make profit off of.
And so
If you sell all
the
of them.
interesting thing about it when he was presenting it is that it's at his warehouse and his platform online. So we wouldn't have to get 6,000 puzzles here and find a place for them. Whether we
Okay,
do the
that's what I'm
project or
saying,
not. So that's
6,000 puzzles you have to sell.
well,
No.
if you sell all of them,
Whatever
that's
you
what you'll
want.
break.
You'll
You'll,
break even at
Yeah.
6,000.
Okay, so
Okay, that's the,
going back to the cost, I get the cost of the artist, 75,000 creates the puzzles, and you said the puzzles are $6
so it's,
puzzle to create, but we don't pay that. That's just their cost because we're paying in 75,000.
so the original commission piece and the events and everything at 75,000. And then another 75,000 to purchase the stock of puzzles.
Okay, so we spend 75,000, purchase the puzzles. Then we sell them for $24.99, and you said that was how many puzzles?
6,000.
Okay, so we sell
So that's actually underneath the 150,000. So even if we sold all of them, I mean, we're talking $60 underneath, but there's also going to be time and cost. I mean, city employees that have to put in time
Correct.
to do this. So best case scenario, we barely break even. Worst case scenario, we're way underwater on this and we've got 6,000 puzzles sitting in a warehouse because do we have enough residents that are gonna buy 6,000 puzzles of Kyle?
Well, I think you could sell them in like Buda too, like those little art.
Yeah, no,
Galleries down by
we could do
Neats
that,
and
but-
stuff, and even into San Marcos, I think that there's some retail stores that, you know, some of them that are. a
So
little
it's,
more
and not to
private.
say that it would, so not to say you couldn't sell the puzzles, right? Then we might sell the puzzles, but what you're saying is essentially true. Those are the two
Right.
options.
So he's really smart of this guy.
Oh, yeah. And he's doing that. He's pitching this to a bunch of
A
different
bunch of
cities.
small
Yeah.
towns. We're not the only one in Texas either, by the
Right?
way.
And he's got a TV show, like,
No, yeah, I watched all his
Yeah.
stuff.
Very
Yeah.
dynamic.
So
I was like,
how
that's
much of the
brilliant.
TV show are we gonna be part of? Is it we're a snippet and Kyle, Texas, or is it we are a whole 30-minute episode? Because I think that would
We
depend on what we
didn't
want.
get, they didn't.
I think those are follow-up questions that need to be asked.
When do we have to make some kind of decision to continue to move forward?
Well, this thing happens in 2026,
Right.
which I imagine the stuff will happen in 2025. So probably in the next year and a half or so.
Couple of months.
What television station, or is it just on his own personal broadcast?
I'm pretty sure it'll be on probably the Gaines network that he's on now,
The,
or did they
the
say?
They're on
HDT, the HDTV thing too was one of the ones that he talked about.
Well, that was the one he was on before. So
Okay.
he did two shows, right? He did Painting the Town, I
Yeah.
think, or
Okay, I just wasn't sure
Yeah,
what channel.
The
he was on.
Peacemaker. So now he's on the Magnolia Network, which is Chris and yeah, Discovery Plus now. Yeah, they're Discovery Plus, which is Max. No,
He did.
I imagine that's not public
No,
information.
he did mention two.
Did he? Okay.
Yes, he did mention two. There was one in Nevada. And then there was another one in Wyoming, I thought, when he said in the discussion, there were two that had sold out all their puzzles.
Oh, yeah, actually, I think I remember.
Because I asked
Within
that
the
question.
first year?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and these were like kind of cities that were small, but like destination tourist cities and that kind of thing. And they had some kind of big festival or something going on where they were able to.
We are not a destination tourist
He's-
city.
He's gonna make 40,000 off the puzzles. So if he makes his 75,000, then we paid him 75,000 and then minus his cost, he's gonna just put 40,000 in the bank or 39,000 in the bank from that. So he's gonna get over 100,000 from us and then we're gonna have to scramble to break even. Out of that 150.
The breaking even part though, so I remember asking, I think it was Colleen about, you know, like vendor prices and where that money goes and if we have to collect money. And she said, we are here to provide like entertainment for the community. So the profit back, I don't know if that was part of any discussion we've had about any of the things that we're gonna do, because I don't think the money goes back to the arts and cultural.
No, no,
I
I
think
mean,
it
to
just
the city.
goes to the city. And right now, such big things are happening in the city that I don't know if that's a lot of money to them or not. I'm not really sure.
Right,
Here's my
but my,
question.
but my kind of my role though is to make sure we always think about
Sure.
the money. And you're right, it doesn't come back to us. None of it comes back to us, but I look around at a lot of what's happening in Kyle and I think about from the citizens' perspective. Are our citizens in every different area getting what their tax dollars are? Because this is a tax dollar. This is not just, this is somebody's hard-earned money that we're taking into the city that we're looking, that we're
Sure.
looking to use. I just want to make sure that we have the conversation and really think through this before we end up with a warehouse full of 2,000 or 3,000.
Well, here's
Well-
my question would be, when does this become outdated? Kyle's changing so much. We have so many things that are coming. And if we're doing this next year, isn't Kyle going to be totally different? In 3 to 4 years, it's going to be, I mean, does that puzzle become not?
Applicable.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just saying like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Kyle, but like, what's going on this puzzle?
Mhm.
We decide what's going on the puzzle. Now,
Right,
let me say this. We're having this initial conversation to say, let's have another conversation.
I agree.
We're not having this conversation and say, oh yeah, let's do it, go forward to the city.
Yeah.
We're just saying, okay, we gotta have all these questions now. So the next thing we do is if indeed we say, well, kinda, we need some more information. We bring the city manager and economic development in and have the exact same question with their questions to ultimately make a decision, is this something that we do? Because all we would ultimately do is make a recommendation to city council that based on these talks we've had, they're willing to come back. We want to talk with economic development, et cetera. This is where we are. This is just an open dialogue right now. And I like the pros and cons. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I had was about 4 years ago, somebody created a Kyle Monopoly game. Okay, I just missed getting one. They sold it at Walmart, right? It sold out. It was gone. I don't know what the
Okay.
quantity was, but it was gone. So my question was, who initiated that? What did it actually look like? Because I never saw the board. I just saw everybody's box and it, it said Monopoly. And then how and when did they sell out? When did it sell out? When was it gone? And then who profited from that? Those are the questions I had that they're trying to find right now. Right? So the economic person, well, of course, the economic development person said, let me look into that, because I remember that she had just gotten here at the time. So there's a lot of information they want to know. So I was like, well, based on that game, how would this hold off and we sold out, we're not doing anything. We just had a big cow fair that happened a few weeks ago that got, over 15,000 people at it during those 3 days. And that sounds like a great project to sell it there, if that's the way we want to go. So there's lots of options here, but just what we're talking about is just our preliminary talks. They asked to talk to us. I said I would bring it back to you based on the city manager saying, take it to Arts and Council, see what they think. And then we move on from there. Yeah, no.
I say we move on and find out
And
more
let's,
information.
we need more information. That's what I
So
was.
I don't know if everybody got the PowerPoint that was actually presented, so I've got that I can send to
That
people.
would be
But
great.
one of the
Okay.
things he did mention was that not all of them were funded by the city.
True.
Some of them were funded by
City,
local
the
organizations or
Chamber of
businesses,
Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that every option is taxpayers paying for this. So worth thinking about at least, but I'll go ahead and send this.
Especially if it's
PDF.
a donation and then the profits go back into the city.
Exactly.
So yeah, so send that PowerPoint to everybody. Y'all take a look at it. And because one of the things I was gonna say, again, this is just an initial discussion. We've talked about it a little bit. Let's add this to the next agenda and talk about it a little bit more. Pending we get some more information to come in and see where we go from there. They're shooting, the event will actually be showcased in 2026. So that means they gotta probably between now and December are gonna be locking in folks to be thinking about a production time in 2025 to get ready for 2026. So I'm sure the same pitch that they gave us, they went to all these other small towns. They did say they're not doing a San Antonio, a Dallas,
Smaller.
they're not doing that. They're going for little towns that could be a destination place. And I am here to tell you, that fair changed things for Kyle. All right, we had people who came from all over the country because they wanted their kid in Guinness Book of Records for the most people in named Kyle in the same place. And I met 2 families at City Hall that Monday. One was from Massachusetts and another one that came from Virginia. And they solely came down on a vacation to Kyle, so their kid Kyle could be a part of the thing,
We're
which
gonna
they
get more
didn't
for
make.
them to do here if they're coming back.
Yeah, and that's,
Mhm.
I immediately contacted Claudia at Parks and
You
said,
gotta tell.
hey, Claudia, y'all need to have some more stuff to
Except for
do
my burger.
for next fair. Because on Monday, we had people walking around town looking for something. I specifically, and why I'm talking about these 2 families, I took them over to the depot because I could get in and gave them a tour. Other than that, they were standing outside the building. So
That's awesome.
there's possibilities.
Perfect.
So more discussion.
I
Okay,
vote, keep talking about it.
we keep talking about it.
Get more information.
We need more information, all right. And, other than that, ladies, what else we got? Because that's pretty much it. Yes, ma'am.
I think we're gonna put a hold on the Chalk Festival.
I am so sorry. That was supposed to be a
That's
bullet.
okay.
I am so sorry. I didn't
Um,
notice that.
We have the venue, reserved and that date's gone through, but this is a huge project and we need way more manpower than what we have. So I can't do it by myself and I can't do it with like 3 other people. It's just too big of a project. So I'm going to postpone it for now. I'm gonna look at more dates at the PAC for this year and see if there's anything that we can get into perhaps in the spring. And I'm also gonna set up a meeting with the person from Parks and Rec who's in charge of special events and see if they can jump in on this with us, because it's just, we don't have anybody. It's just us. And, you know, everybody's got a different level of commitment to the commission, so it's just too hard to plan for all the vendors, all the food, all the rentals, all the security for with 3 people or 4 people. It's just, it's not gonna be to the caliber that it needs to be at. So it's on hold for now. I will definitely come to the council with possible dates and for our commission, the possible dates, and also after I talk to Parks and Rec to see what their calendar looks like and see if they have anything opened up that we can kind of team up with them on this one.
So can I go? Thank you for all the work. that
Yeah, I
you've
put
done.
about 30+ hours
No,
into it
thank
myself
you.
for sure.
Thank you for
It's heartbreaking.
everything that you have done, and
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I support the decision to move it to when we can do it and whatever we need to do, but
Yeah, I want this to be big. Like, I want this to
Yes.
be like the Kyle Fair. Like, I want it to be
Yeah.
big.
I do want to go on record with all the work that you did. for
Thank
us.
you so much. I
That's
appreciate
one of the
that.
things I was thinking about when I saw the Kyle Fair, when I went to go and work there, was how many people were working that. And those are people who are getting paid to do it. That's
Yes,
not
and-
volunteers.
yeah,
Absolutely.
And so the thought of it was like, the infrastructure is just like, we'd have to pull in everybody.
Yeah, and we will.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just
Yeah.
get with a few more resources and some more folks, because it's a great idea.
I think
And
so,
I
yeah.
think we're off to a good start and we've got some good planning going for it already, locations and all that stuff. Now we just need muscle behind it to make it happen.
We had, let me say real quickly that thank you for this breakdown that you gave us. We talked about it the last
Oh,
meeting.
you're welcome.
And some of us actually said, I will do this one, and I will do this one. And even with that, there were still parts that we couldn't attach a name to. And there were, one where we said, well, that's actually 2 pieces, we gotta pull that one apart. And as we reviewed and said, well, I can do this and I can do this, again, that is not, we don't have the infrastructure to do
Right,
this.
and this is a voluntary position for all of us, so I mean, I understand the level of commitment's different for everybody, some people can be at every event. Some people can just be at our meetings, so, it's just, with that, it's gonna be so much work, and I'm ready for it, but
Yeah.
we just gotta hold off and get some more people to help us out a bit.
I was at the Kyle Fair, well, Stephanie and then, Vicky joined me, and, well, Stephanie was there, I came next, Vicky. Just looking at how that was done. The biggest thing is what Michael said, most of the people there were paid employees,
Yes,
city employees from various departments who were assigned to various types of things. That was a massive undertaking, and in speaking with Claudia about how those 3 days took place, there was so much that she said she learned that she loved to share.
That's
Because that
awesome.
was her first go round too, and they had a couple of glitches, right? Like they sold out on something, didn't know they sold out on it, and people were mad because they didn't get it, and they were like, oh, we didn't even know it was gone. So those kind of things have to work out, but I support the idea too that we move this a little later on and then see how we can regroup and what all is needed. And
I'll keep working on it behind the scenes, just to get us some information so we can be informed, but, we'll see what happens. Thank you.
And I want to echo one of the things Tara just said, and that's, I believe that there are members of the city council and maybe even some members that appear at our commission meetings that tend to forget that we are volunteer citizens, that we're also taxpayers, we're also voters, but we give our time not because we have an agenda, we give our time because we like where we live and we genuinely want to make it better for all people, and this is our way to get back. And I feel very discouraged, very personally attacked
It's-
when we see things that go against our integrity and what our agenda is and what our focus is. And I feel very discouraged and attacked that people in this room are personally called out at some of our council meetings and disparaged. And so I want to just reiterate it. We're taxpayers, we are voters, we are moms, we are dads, we are brothers, we are sisters, we are friends, we are volunteers.
That technically meet only once a month.
Yes.
And everything that outside of that once a month is personal time.
And we don't have a political agenda. We're not trying to be elected to our next office. We're not trying to keep our current office. We're not trying to balance a developer and a taxpayer. We are simply here because we want to make our community better. And we all think that art, no matter what form it's in, makes a community better.
I appreciate that.
And I have one other piece of business.
Please.
If you haven't heard my voice. I would like to put on our next agenda this idea of an art league, because I think maybe we can talk about it in relation to the artist receptions that you were talking about. Yeah, I think there is a way to make all of that work and put it on a more consistent basis, like we talked about doing in the next fiscal year. So yeah, I would love to put that on the next agenda and have a conversation about it.
So noted on that.
So from a nuts and bolts of the council point of view, I was told to point out that we have a bunch of money that needs to get spent before the end of the fiscal year. And if the money doesn't get spent, that means that certain entities won't think that it's worth funding.
So could we use some of that money to go ahead and move forward with the art boxes before next year?
Almost certain.
Because we're talking about if we're gonna have this puzzle potentially, or we're trying to draw in people to come to Kyle, or find things for them to do when they do come here for our festivals, that would be a nice thing to be able to say, you can see these different areas of what artists.
Do you have a budget on that? Because we got the great
I think
information
it's
last
budgeted.
week.
Yeah.
No, but it didn't have a price. It had a total price. Right?
Oh,
Didn't
we
it
have to
a total
decide
price?
things like, do you want it made out of plastic? Do we want it done out of wood? Are we going to like hire, which company are we allowed to use
But
to
do we
like?
have
fit
any kind
into-
of like ballpark pricing for that? Like if we go plastic, it's gonna be this amount. If we go wood.
No, because we
it's
haven't
gonna
like even like agreed on dimensions or anything that it can take to anywhere. So we just need to say, I mean, I agree, I just mean like the idea of like, oh, we want it to be relatively this big. I don't. We have to quibble over 16 versus 17 inches, which is kind of like.
I think if you just get the information together for us and give us some dimensions, we'll probably be okay with it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna argue inches with you.
Right? Because at that point, it's just like, okay, here's some stuff,
Then
let's
we'll
make a
know.
decision.
We can tend this way, this is how much it's gonna
There's
cost.
a plastics company in this area that builds different things like that. So it might, I think personally, it might behoove us to utilize having it built in plastic. Just because then we don't have to do any like painting or upkeep or things like that. Wood is also cute. I mean, we can have tempered outdoor wood that would probably be a lot cheaper, but then it's finding someone to build it. But what I can do is like look into that and just talk to different companies about what it would be. It would be cool if we had like a local wood maker, carpenter, artist
Mhm.
to like, build them. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But again, I don't personally know anyone, so if you know someone who does woodwork or know someone who does woodwork, that'd be awesome. I think that would be the best way to go because I feel like giving local artists,
Do you have anybody in the database that showed up?
not that did wood,
Okay.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, I can definitely get that together and.
So can we put it on the agenda for next time and Brooke will come with all the numbers
So-
and everything so we can have a conversation?
I'll be honest, I'm probably not here at the next meeting because I am out of town. So I'm
Can you-
going to be out of town, but I can
Can you give it
send
done
it in.
before and we can still talk about it?
Yes,
Do
no,
that?
that's fine.
I will be out of town as well, but I can zoom it. I can zoom it. I'm going to see my mom in Florida.
All righty then. Anything else?
I don't think that the art boxes are going to use up our budget. So if there's something else, I'm just saying like, I don't see them
No, yeah.
as being a massive expenditure. So we should probably also maybe think about other things that might work.
The concern is, it's like, if the money doesn't get spent, then they're gonna say, okay, well, why do we give them that much
Totally
money?
understood. Yeah.
So,
That's always the case.
yeah, and that's what we have to do at the end of every year, is make sure to spend the money, so.
Initially, when that budget, we were told we had $65,000. We put together a plan on how to spend it. With the idea that we would get all the money spent during this year, but there's been some obstacles. And then in creating another budget, which I hear that we necessarily didn't have to create, but we did. We actually came in $5,000 less for this new fiscal year, coming in with more activities. But we've got some other issues out there we're gonna have to deal with, and so we're just gonna see where we're gonna go with that. I can say this as we're starting to wrap up with announcements. Melody will be submitting a letter of resignation. For the most part, she will initiate in the letter why she's resigning. We've had a great conversation about it. And so we'll, see where we go from there. So she was supposed to send it today, but I didn't see it. So I guess she's gonna send it tomorrow so that I can officially turn it in.
Oh, sorry.
The idea that if there is issues with, anyone, and at the last meeting, I did state that if you felt as though, you needed to resign, or, you wanted to move to something different, whatever, if this was the time to be able to do that, so that as they're having a call, they can continue to call. So we'll, see where that goes now. Where we go next.
Can I throw out one more idea? Just if we're trying to use up our budget, I know I've been doing work at the Hayes County Jail, like work with the inmates, and we've been offering art classes there. And I've been trying to do that at least twice a month, but if we had funds to kind of maybe, what I did in San Marcos for International Women's Month is we did art classes with incarcerated women, and then we showed their art at a pop-up venue at the Price Center. And it went over really big in the community, and we had a lot of people turn out to come and see their work, and it gave a lot of people who were there feelings of being connected with their community, and a lot of personal joy to be able to share with their family and friends that they had a piece of artwork showcased. And we did it attached with like a personal narrative, so people could like read a little bit about who they were and why they created what they created, and kind of the emotions that they were going through, which gives people a little bit more understanding about what incarceration is and what it means for people in our community. And we also partnered with Mono Amigo at that as well to give some more information. But if we have funds, it would be really excellent to be able to do something like that here in Kyle, and maybe offer some programs to the men's units as well, and see if we could do kind of like maybe a pop-up art piece to kind of talk about incarceration and display some of their work. And if people wanted to, not people, we can't have a lot of people come in because it takes a long time to get vetted. But if there was, one or two people who wanted to get vetted and volunteer and come in and do the art classes and work with people, that might be neat. I'm just throwing out another idea. Obviously, that again is not like a huge monetary investment, but it might be something that kind of like is a little bit different. That's all the ideas I had. I'm done, y'all. I'm out.
As far as announcements are concerned, we have a city council meeting coming up next Tuesday. And then there's gonna be one on July the 6th. And they moved it. It's normally on a Tuesday, which would have been 4th of July. So they moved it to Thursday, which would have been the 6th. So that official notice has gone out to everyone in case people don't get their wires crossed, thinking they have to be looking at fireworks on the city council at the same time. And then there'll be a round 2 of budget. Basically, I was asked to take the budget that we submitted and put a little more detail with it. Like, we submitted a line item with just this, and this, because that's what we initially were told to do. And they said, give us some context. So when you say cultural awareness activities, what do you mean? So then we listed the ones that you saw. Remember that worksheet we had where we said, well, we're gonna do Juneteenth, and we're gonna do Hispanic Heritage, and we're gonna do that. So they want that to accompany the, on the budget when it goes the next time. We weren't the only ones asked for that. Everybody was, like, there were a couple of departments that asked for specifically a new person. And they said, well, what is that person gonna do? So give them some details, that kind of thing like that. So that's what's gonna occur. That meeting is gonna be on July the 8th. In regards to them reviewing the budget and whether or not they have questions. So those are the two things I have for now.
I think the last thing I'll add is that we do have a new city manager now. So I'm not sure what processes might change or what might come. So just keep that in mind if if you hear from us, me and Colleen saying such and such has changed, or you see things are different at the city council meetings, it's because we have a new boss. So
Who is it?
Brian Langley,
Brian, okay, I just wanted to write the
Yeah.
name down just in case I heard it again, I would know. Langley?
and he's supposed to come here to the library next week, so I'll meet him then, but
Is it Kyle local or someone from?
I
outside?
don't know that.
Oh, okay, no worries.
He is from Burleson. There's a big write-up in the paper about him. You can also go to the city's website. They've got a full bio about him.
There we go.
Okay then.
Oh, gosh, there was one more thing I was gonna say. Oh, we will start having Amber Shirts, who is the assistant city manager, attending our meetings. As I guess, another liaison person, but she'll be attending meetings to, help as I don't say we, as the commission moves along, based on some conversations that's been had. So if that is all, I am going to ask that somebody make a motion to, adjourn the meeting.
I motion.
I'll second.
All right.
My name hasn't been in the minutes in a while.
7:45.
Laser
We'll
fast.
see y'all tomorrow evening, just for a little bit. It would be helpful. Terry, you still can't come, right?
No, I can't
I
come
can
tomorrow.
come.
Okay.
I was gonna be at City Hall to tell people, oh, head on over
Go
to the
to-
train
right.
depot. So if anyone